Florida State is going to Miami. We got a rivalry game in week 10 of the college football season. Should be a whole lot of fun. Two programs at different points in their development. We'll break it down. Florida State, they are feeling confident. They've really had 3 losses to 3 ranked teams. So in terms of a good loss, Florida State has 3 of them. Florida State as a whole is feeling like they should win this game. Like they're going to play a Miami team that's in their first year under Mario Cristobal, and they feel like, hey, this is ours. Let's go take what's ours. All right, for Miami to flip that around, they're in year 1 under Mario Cristobal. They're trying to build momentum. Got a 4 overtime win against Virginia last week, and Mario Cristobal talked a lot about the resiliency of his program, the way the sideline responded, and just the things that he was pleased with. And so, you know how to get a snowball rolling. Starts with one snowflake. And they're starting to pack some snow together, or they're hoping that's the case, at least in Coral Gables, from what they did last week in that win. Now, the offense did not look good. There is a lot to shore up, a lot that needs to be put back together at Miami. Maybe hit a reset button, in a sense, under Mario Cristobal, and that's going to be the direction it goes. But overall, they're happy to get a win, looking to carry that momentum. A big thing to watch in this game, what's the status of the quarterback spot at Miami? Because Tyler Van Dyke, we're hearing 2 different things. The camp at Miami is saying that he's doing more in practice. They're optimistic about him potentially getting back soon. We'll see if that means this game. The good people that cover Miami are, to my understanding, not feeling like Tyler Van Dyke's going to play in this game. So, Jake Garcia, you're driving the car, brother. What can you do? One of the hinge points for me in this game is the efficacy of a Florida State defensive line that is now starting to get back healthy. Because remember what you saw from Florida State in week 1 of the college football season? Remember that defensive line that was just wreaking havoc against LSU, and an LSU offensive line that was still having their own issues, but the point remains the same. Florida State has got some dudes on that defensive line, and now they've been banged up throughout the year. They're starting to sort of get their tempo back, get their rhythm back. You get Lovett back. You get Jared Verse back. They're excited about what they're going to bring to the table. And so my question is, like I said, the efficacy of that defensive line. What kind of impact do they have on this game? Because Miami, as an offense already, they've got some issues, right? I don't think that needs to be addressed too much further. They got issues. If Florida State can get after the quarterback and have the kind of run defense that they're capable of having in this kind of game, it could get ugly. Because think about what that means then. For Miami, you're living in 3rd and long. In theory, if you're able to have the impact you want to have on the defensive line for Florida State, 3rd and long for anybody, especially this Miami offense, you got problems. Because then the Florida State defensive line can pin their ears back and rush the passer, and you put pressure on your quarterback to make plays that, quite frankly, we haven't seen them consistently make. And if that's the case for Miami, giving the ball back to Florida State, much worse, let's say it's giving the ball back to Florida State in favorable field position, this thing could get a little bit dicey early. Now, on the flip side of that for Miami, let's say that you're able to combat that. In that kind of world, I think you're running the football effectively, obviously. Even more so, I think you're able to get the quick game going. You get your quarterback in a rhythm. Maybe he gets some confidence. And I'm telling you, it just takes 1 drive, maybe 2 drives, to start having some belief internally. That could change the whole complexion of this game. I think momentum has a really big impact in this game. Rushing the passer, that Florida State defensive line, in my opinion, will dictate just how much Florida State allows Miami to get some momentum. Second thing I'm looking at in this game, who can establish the run first? Because Florida State sounds like they're going to get Treshaun Ward back. Now, that's the hope. Barring some sort of major setback, they're thinking he plays in this game. And Treshaun Ward, he's a dog. Like, I don't think we need to elaborate too much more. When he is toting the rock for this football team, when he's in a rhythm, the entire offense changes. Jordan Travis gets the ability to be much more comfortable in the pocket. That defense likely has to commit more to trying to stop Treshaun Ward and that 3-headed monster they have in the backfield. When you have to commit more resources to the run, well, guess what? There's more green grass. There's more green grass, especially in that secondary that's available. Then you let Micah Pittman eat. Then Johnny Wilson gets to eat. And that just totally changes the entire way that Miami plays in this game. Because then if you're running the football, you get more splash plays in the pass game. And when that happens, again, you force Miami to answer scores. Now, the thing to look at, Miami, that front seven actually, for all the faults they have as a program right now, all the holes they're still trying to get right, that front seven's pretty solid. I mean, they're number one in the country in terms of sack rate. 12%. 12% of the snaps that teams are taking against Miami, they're getting sacked. That means something, all right? That's something to build off of. So, can you neutralize Treshaun Ward as he comes back? Can you neutralize this ground game for Florida State? I think you have to in order to have a chance to kind of play the game you want to play. So let's flip that around. Like we talked about, the defensive line for Florida State going to play a big factor in this game. Miami is a running football team. They run the football 56% of the time. They want to be able to ground and pound. They want to play tough kind of brand football that Mario Cristobal's persona, I think, dictates to this team. That's the hope, all right? So if they can do that, kind of the same song second versus Florida State's going to be playing. Well, obviously, the splash plays potentially in the pass game, which is a big if and a big hope for that program. But I think even more so, it allows you to dictate the tempo of the game. And Miami, that's going to be a big deal because what you want to avoid is Florida State gets a quick score and then you get the ball back and you can't hold the ball, so you punt, and then it's 14-0, and then you're saying, okay, likely, Jake Garcia, you got to go score some points, brother. And you're saying, as a program, we scored 14 points in 4 overtimes a week ago. So that's a tall task. If you can run the football, if you can kind of shorten this game and have it be low scoring, even better, maybe have it be kind of an ugly game, that favors Miami. All right? I'll leave it at that. Here's what this game comes down to for me. If Florida State plays to the level they are capable of playing at, if they can get to their average, their mean, and they don't give it away, they should win this football game. Just fact of the matter. Florida State has more talent. They're further developed. Mario Cristobal is in year 1. Mike Norvell is in his 3rd year. This is a win they need. This is a win Mike Norvell needs, I think, in a lot of ways to rally more support from the powers that be around this program. All right? They need this win. So if they don't play sloppy, if they don't have careless turnovers, if the special teams, this is a big one, if the special teams is consistent in this game, they should be okay. Now, special teams is a point that I hit on because Keyshawn Smith, the return man for Miami, he's one of the best in the country. He has, listen to this, 4 returns over 30 yards. He has 4 returns over 40 yards. He has 3 returns over 50 yards. So, needless to say, guy is lightning in a bottle. Don't let him impact the game if you're Florida State, because that could change the entire complexion. We talked about elongating the drives and kind of holding the ball. Well, guess what? If you get the ball on the opposing 40, let's be crazy and say the opposing 30, you have obviously a much better situation for your offense. Not novel analysis, but that's the kind of thing that a Miami offense, with how anemic they've been recently, they would welcome that. Some people would go as far to say they need that. So something to keep an eye on. But again, if Florida State can play clean, can play efficient football, and not just fall apart, they will win this football game. So with that being said, Miami's averaging 21 points a game. Don't think they can keep pace if Florida State's able to even score at a reasonable rate. It's going to be the way this thing goes. I have Florida State winning this game 34-14 in a rivalry fashion. Going to be a lot of emotions. Keep an eye on that, but we think Florida State ends up winning this game. This has been The Hard Count. I'm JD Pickell. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Nick Brake does the real heavy lifting. You can help come and drive this whole operation by joining the party and subscribing. So until then, we're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.